Hi, good morning. Welcome to Daily Downward Dog videos. I am so happy that you're here. This is the very first inaugural video, so I'm probably a little bit nervous and I might make a few mistakes while I go. So you know what, it's just me practicing and I'm inviting you to practice along with me. This is a practice I do in the morning quite a bit. When I wake up, my low back is super cranky. So I do a lot of stretches like child's pose, cat-cow to get it all nice and warmed up and moving. So I invite you to join me for this practice. It's going to be short, under a half hour, and we'll move everything and fill up with gratitude and joy so that we can start the day out right. So thanks for coming along for the ride, for showing up on your mat to practice with me, and let's get started. We'll come into child's pose. And there's a couple of different ways to do child's pose. The key as we go through these practices together is to honor your body. Please don't do anything that causes you any discomfort or struggle, and no judgment. Those are my rules of practice, and maybe smile quite a bit as you practice. So my way that I like to do child's pose is knees apart, big toes to touch, hands come out in front of you, forehead comes down to the mat. You can also use a block, and the block goes down to underneath the forehead. So this is a nice way to go. If that's uncomfortable on your knees, you can come up to table, walk your knees back a little bit, walk your hands forward, lower your head down, and this is puppy dog pose. So either version, child's pose or puppy dog pose. You can even do child's pose with the knees together and the arms to the sides. Find one that works for you. I'm going to go back to my preferred version and just sit the hips back towards the heels. Walk your hands out, forehead down to the mat. Just gently rock your forehead from side to side. Take a moment here to take a couple of deep breaths in and out with me. So let's inhale in. Really feel the rib cage open. And then as you exhale, feel everything kind of pull back down. Inhale, breathe all the way up until you feel the upper part of your back open and expand. And exhale, relax, and just let it go. Take one more big breath in like that. And exhale, let it go. Walk your hands over to the right side of your mat. So you're going to bring your right hand off of the mat. Bring your left hand over top of your right, and then press back through your left hip. This is something I always like to do first thing in the morning, just to open up my low back. Take a couple of deep breaths in and out here. And then come back to neutral. Walk your hands all the way over to the left. Bring your right hand on top of the left and press back through the right hip. Lower the head down in between the arms. Keep breathing. If you're here on the knees and this is uncomfortable, the blanket is really nice. So if you have a blanket or something that you can put down on your mat for some extra cushion, I'll show you what that would look like. You can just press back so that the knees are a little bit more cushioned. It's always nice to have a blanket if you need it underneath the knees. Don't want to have cranky knees while you practice. All right, walk your hands back to center and then come back up into neutral. And from neutral, we're going to do some cat-cow. So the hands are right below the shoulders, fingers spread wide. There's 2 fistfuls of space in between my hands. I'm going to flow right into cow as I inhale. Lift the chin up, just as much as would feel good for your neck. Tailbone lifts up. And then as you exhale, press your hands down, round the back up, and peek back towards your thighs. Inhale, float right back into cow. And exhale, round the back to cat. Keep this going now to your breath. This is another thing I do every morning to warm up my spine, to get things moving. And once I've done a couple of these, then it's just kind of like a freestyle cat-cow. So you can move your hips around. You can move your head around. Just really listen to your body and let it awaken. All right, I'm coming back to neutral. Little something to open up the wrists and the shoulders. Take your left arm straight out and just rotate your left wrist a couple of times in each direction. And then reach it forward again. Inhale forward and exhale, press your hips back towards your heels. And then as you inhale, float your arm all the way up and over your ear and reach it right back out. Let's do that again. Exhale back. Inhale all the way forward. Exhale back. Deep breaths here. Inhale forward. One more time. Come on back. And float the arm all the way forward. And then drop it down to the ground. Let's do that on the right side. Sweep your right arm straight out. Thumb up. Rotate the wrist. Looking out at the snow here in Northeast Ohio. Grateful. Yes, grateful for the snow. Exhale. Press the hips back towards the heels. Inhale. Reach your arm up and over. Exhale. Hips press back. Inhale. Reach, open, forward. 2 more times. Maybe with a little smile on your face this morning. Yeah, smiling always takes every asana to the advanced level. And we all want to be advanced yogis, right? Bring your right hand down. Let's do a couple of cat-cows in between there. I'm already starting to feel my heat rise. The prana's flowing through me. It feels really good. All right, come back to neutral. One more thing here on hands and knees. Take your hips over to the left and just press them over to the left and turn your head to the right. Inhale to neutral. Exhale, hips go over to the left. Peek back towards the opposite foot. And just keep going back and forth from left. Inhale back to center. And exhale to the right. Back and forth. It feels so good in the hips. Hope it feels good for you too. All right, come back to neutral, and from neutral, let's walk back to puppy dog pose for a moment. So take your hands straight out in front of you, keep your hips up, lower your head down. So you are always welcome to stay in puppy dog pose in lieu of child or downward dog. Maybe wiggle your booty around here a little bit. If you're ready for your first downward dog this morning, go ahead and come on up. Walk your hands back. I'm going to move this blanket out from underneath me. And you're going to look down at your fingers, spread your fingers wide, and curl your toes under. Lift your hips up high. Take your hips all the way back and start to pedal your feet out in downward dog. You're going to notice that my heels are not down on the ground. That's because I'm not warmed up yet. And all of that we're doing right now is just to warm us up a bit. Yeah. Go ahead and shift right into plank pose. From plank pose, lower down to your knees, your chest, and your chin. Come all the way down. You move these out of the way for a moment. Slide my forearms forward. And I'm looking down and I can see the creases in my elbows. So my elbows aren't back real far like this. They're up forward. I'm pressing into my forearms, the tops of my feet, my pubic bone. I'm gonna take my feet a little bit wider apart and then lift right up into Sphinx pose. And I always like to wiggle my booty around a little bit and my neck a little bit and then really power up my legs, my forearms. I'm lifting up, I'm getting a really beautiful stretch and awakening, warming up my low back. Keep hugging your shoulders together. Lift your heart up a little bit. And I'm going to lift the corners of my mouth up because I really, truly am happy that there's snow out in my backyard. It makes it so much prettier in the wintertime. And got to be grateful for all of the gifts that Mother Nature brings us. Let's take one more breath here. And then lower down. Slide your hands to the tops of your rib cage. Come on up onto your hands and knees. Curl your toes under, lift the hips straight up and back. Downward facing dog again. Pedal the feet out here. Yeah. And you can take your feet wider apart in your first couple of downward dogs. Fingers spread wide, pressing into the tops of the fingers. I'm going to come up onto my toes, look towards the hands, and walk all the way up. Take as many steps as you need to. Wiggle your booty around a little bit. And this is really important, yogis. So I want you to bring your hands to your low back, right here. Fingers pointing down, and press into the soles of your feet. Really activate the feet. Hug your thighs together. Feel how strong your legs and your glutes are. And use your legs and your glutes and your core to lift right up. So much nicer for the back when you come up like that. I'm going to turn to face the center of my mat for this next part. You can stay up at the front of your mat. I'm going to take my jacket off because I'm already starting to get warm. And we're going to do a couple of things here to continue to warm up. So look down at your feet. I was just looking down at my feet to make sure that they were parallel hip distance apart. That's really important for Tadasana pose. Press into the soles of your feet. You'll feel the thighs wake up, and your knees will probably lock. Mine just did when I did that. So soften your knees. Let your tailbone sink down. And then lift up out of your waist. Hug your lower ribs in. Your shoulders, lift them up. Roll them back. And bring your arms out to the sides. Palms facing forward. Wiggle your head up like you're trying to reach your head up to meet the sun. It's up there. Might not see it today in Northeast Ohio, but it's up there. And I'm reaching up to let that sunlight shine down on me this morning. All right, this is Tadasana. Take a couple of breaths here. In fact, you haven't come into your Ujjayi breathing. Inhale in and exhale out like you're fogging up a mirror, like if you're not quite sure what I'm talking about, bring your right hand up to your mouth and take an inhale in and exhale out like you're fogging up a mirror. And then you can take that same constriction with your vocal cords as you inhale in and out. Sounds a little bit like the ocean. That's why I love the sound of Ujjayi breathing. So inhale in and exhale out. I'm going to leave my mouth open so you can really hear the Ujjayi breath, but you can do it with your mouth opened or closed, whatever's most comfortable for you. Good to open up the lungs and take some nice deep breaths. So I've got a little mantra for you today as we practice. I'm just going to kind of shake out of that Tadasana pose for a moment. Bring your arms up overhead and bring your hands to your heart. Press your pinky and your thumb together. Let your 3 middle fingers open up. Lotus Mudra. You can almost feel your heart start to open a little bit when you do that. And this is our mantra. Are you ready? It's probably going to make you laugh. I am a forklift. Yeah, I said forklift. And what I mean by that is I am a forklift. I'm out there in the world lifting other people up and also lifting myself up, always being kind and compassionate to myself. Let's say that with some breath. So float your arms out wide as you inhale. Flip your palms up, hug your shoulders together. Stand up nice and tall, Tadasana. As you exhale, come on over to the right. So left arm's gonna float over and reach over to the right. And then inhale, arms float out wide. Left hand floats down the body, right arm sweeps up and over the ear. So some side crescents with breath. Inhale, I am. As you exhale, a forklift. It makes you smile. So if anything, it'll make you smile and be a little more happy today. Yeah, and just keep going, breathing in. I am a forklift. Why is that important? It's important because you want to make sure when you encounter people throughout the day that you're lifting them up. Like when they leave from talking to you, maybe they're shining a little bit brighter because you smiled at them, you offered them a nice compliment, a sincere compliment, or you really truly listened to them. Forklifting is so cool. And when you do it, you feel good too. Float your arms out to the sides, sweep them all the way up overhead. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. I'm going to turn to face the side again. Come up to the fronts of your mats with me. Yeah, pull up your yoga pants, pull your yoga shirt down if you need to. Wiggle around a little bit, find a Tadasana. We're going to do some work now standing. Float your arms up overhead, big inhale in, exhale, bring your hands down through heart center, fold forward over your legs. Uttanasana, bend your knees if your low back is cranky. Slide your hands up to your shins or your thighs, hug your shoulders together, nice flat back here. And then exhale, fold. I'm gonna step my right foot back, wiggle it back, and then lower my right knee down. You might wanna put your right knee under a blanket here. I'm gonna grab my blocks and bring them right behind the back of my ankle. They're up on their highest height. Sliding my right knee back a little bit. My left knee is forward. I'm gonna pull my left hip back and press down into my right knee, and you'll feel a really nice stretch all the way up your right quad, your hip flexor, the psoas. So I always like to get a really nice stretch there in the morning. That's a really tight spot for me. Take a big breath in here. Big breath out. And then as you inhale, float your heart forward. Hug your shoulders together. Look up towards the sky. I am a forklift. And as you exhale, press your hips back towards your heel. Let your head melt towards your left knee. You're gonna feel this in your hamstring. Don't overdo it. You wanna get a nice stretch here, but don't overdo it. Inhale, heart sweeps forward. As you exhale, hips press back towards heel. Let's do that 2 more times. Nice to open up the hamstrings here. Come back as you exhale. Inhale, forward, hug your shoulders together. Keep the chest lifted. And then come back this time and pause for a moment. Melt your head towards your knee. And then lower your toes down just as much as you can. Whew, you're gonna feel that. It feels good. Go ahead, lower your left foot down. Come back up to neutral. Let's float the arms up. Take it up, take it back. Maybe a little back bend here. And then swan dive your hands down to the ground. Move your blocks out to the sides. And step your left foot back to meet your right. Take your left leg straight back. Rotate the left ankle a couple of times in each direction, just opening up the joints there. Yeah. All right, go ahead and drop the left knee down. From here, let's do that on the other side. So take your right leg straight back. Rotate your right ankle a couple of times in each direction. Yeah, and then step the left foot or right foot forward up in between your hands. Bring the blocks to frame the ankles. If you don't have blocks, your hands can come to the ground. The blocks are just nice because they give you a little more room between you and the ground. I'm going to slide my left knee back a little bit. And my right knee is right over my ankle. Shin is parallel right now. And I'm going to inhale and just pull the right hip back and press into the left knee. Let's just pause there for a couple of moments. You can have your hands at the blocks or up on your knee. Take a couple of deep breaths in and out. If Ujjayi breathing is challenging for you, just a calm, steady inhale and exhale, just as long as you're deepening the breath, slowing the breath down a little bit. So good for you. All right, bring your hands to the blocks. Take an inhale, soar the heart forward. Exhale, hips press back towards heel, toes come up. Inhale, come back. Let's do a few of these, back and forth, nice and slow. Warming up those hammies. Yes. All right. One more time back. When you come back this time, let your toes press down towards the mat. Take a big breath in here, big breath out. Let's come back to neutral and then sweep the arms up to the sky. Take it up, take it back. If this back bend's too much for you, just keep your gaze straight forward. Bring your hands down to your heart, down to the blocks. Go ahead and step your right foot back to meet your left. Let's do a couple of cat-cows here. You can never get enough cat-cows in the morning as far as I'm concerned. All right, go ahead and come back to neutral and take your right leg straight back behind you and swing your right leg around and bring it all the way up to the front. You might have to lift it up a little bit. Get your right knee right over your ankle. We're gonna come up into warrior two pose. So you'll curl your left toes under, lift your left knee up, Drop your left foot down. I'm looking back here to make sure I can draw a line from my front heel to my back. And then I'm going to bring my right hand to my right knee and come up. Take the left arm back, right arm forward, and knee is right over the ankle. This is Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2 pose. One thing I like to do when I first come into the pose is bring my hands behind the back, look down at my front knee, make sure it's right over my ankle, and my toes are pointing straight forward and they're unclenched. And then I pull my left shoulder back a little bit. So I'm squaring away from that front knee, not taking it out of alignment, keeping it right in alignment. And then from there, float your arms out to the sides. And look right down your front fingertips. Now most time when I come into this, I'm like this. So if you're like that, drop your shoulders down. In fact, surf your arms out. It feels really tropical here in Northeast Ohio with the snow, so we should be surfing on our yoga mats this morning. And take a big breath in here, big breath out. Let's reverse this Warrior 2. Left hand on the back leg, flip your right palm up, lift up, come back, keep your front knee bent, and just come back. I always like to take a bound reverse warrior. So I'm gonna bring my left hand up to my right wrist and just pull back. You just feel a little bit more space creating there. Let your arms float right back to Warrior 2. And then from Warrior 2, extended side angle, right forearm, right inner thigh. You can bring it to a block if you'd like. I prefer just to keep it at my inner thigh. Float your left arm up, reach it up. And then if you'd like, you can float your left arm up and over your ear, reaching and reaching. Press into the pinky toe side of your left foot and get a little more room there. Yeah. Let's come up with the mantra, I am a forklift. So inhale up, I am. As you exhale, a forklift. Yes. Do that a few more times, back and forth. Just breath with movement. I am a forklift. And so one more time. It feels good to lift up others. It feels good to be a forklift for yourself as well. Cartwheel your hands down to the ground. I'm going to use the blocks here again. Drop your left knee down and keep your left hand on a block or down on the ground. And we're going to float the right arm up and take a twist here. Roll your right shoulder back. Look up towards your fingertips. Take a big breath in here. Exhale it out. And then lower down the right hand. Bring your right knee back to meet your left and come to table. Here's where I'm going to give you an option. You can cat-cow here or rest in child's pose. Those are great options. If you would like to take a flow through vinyasa, walk your hands out a bit, curl your toes under, find downward facing dog. From downward dog, shift to plank pose. From plank, come all the way down to your belly. Elbows brush straight back. Press into the tops of the feet. Inhale up into cobra, a lower high cobra. You decide, I'm in low cobra. Lower down. Press back to your knees and come to tabletop position. We'll all meet up back here. All right, let's take and do that on the other side now. So take your left leg back behind you. Step your left foot forward in between your hands. We're going to rise up into Warrior 2 pose again. So lift up the right knee. Look at your right heel. Make sure it's lined up with your front heel. Come on up. And you want to always build your standing asanas from the ground up. Front knee bent. Bring your hands behind your back again. And pull your right shoulder back. So you're squaring the hips and heart away from the front foot. And then let's just release that bind and softly float back into Warrior 2. We'll surf this side just because that feels good in the morning. And look right down the front fingertips. Sweep your right hand down the back leg, flip your left palm up, come back, reverse warrior. If you want to take a bound reverse warrior, slide your right hand up, reach back, grab your left wrist. Feels good to open up the body. Arms float to Warrior 2, and then left forearm, left inner thigh. Or again, you could bring it to a block or down to the ground. Up to you. Take the right arm up, and then float your right arm up and over your ear. Press into the knife edge of your right foot and reach, 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 reach. Peel your right shoulder up and open. Take a couple of deep breaths in and out here. All right, go ahead and inhale it all the way up and back. Reverse warrior. As you exhale, flow into extended side angle. And let's add our mantra. Inhale up, I am. As you exhale, a forklift. Yes. So flowing back and forth, I am. As you exhale, a forklift. Inhale, it makes me smile every time I say it. Exhale, a forklift. All right, lower down the right hand. Spin your right knee around. Right knee up or down. I'm going to take my right hand back to a block. Float the left arm up and take a twist here. Yeah, maybe a little jazz hand up there. Gotta have some fun on your yoga mat, right? And then you'll have that fun infused into your mind and your heart. You can take that with you all day long. Lower down your left hand. Let's come back to tabletop position. And again, cat-cow here, or flow it through. I'll give you a moment if you want to flow through to down dog, and then to plank. Inhale up into cobra, and back to down dog. I'm just doing the option, which is to cat-cow. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and come back to downward dog. So walk your hands forward a little bit, curl your toes under, lift the knees up. Elbows are rotated out, hugging shoulders together, clawing the fingertips into the mat. Now we're a lot warmer, so you can lift the rib cage up and press the tailbone back a little bit more. And the heels are getting a little bit closer to the ground. I love that. Take another big breath in here, big breath out. And then come up onto your toes. Look up towards your hands. Let's walk back up there. You can walk or jump or hop, however you want to get there. Wiggle your booty around a little bit. Bring your hands to the low back. Remember, we're coming up using the legs, using the core, using the glutes. Rise right up. Put your arms up overhead. And bring your hands to your heart. Thumb knuckles rest there. Press your pinky and your thumb together. Open up your fingers into Lotus Mudra. And breathe in some kind thoughts to you. Be a forklift for yourself this morning. So I am beautiful. I am joyful. I am going to manifest my dreams today. What do you need to lift yourself up? It's really good to speak kind and loving words to yourselves in the morning, especially all day, but in the morning for sure. Bring all 5 fingers together and bring your arms down to the sides. Come to Tadasana. I'm going to turn to face you guys again. So we're going to take and do a spread leg forward fold. You might want to have, have some blocks in front of you. Take your feet a little bit wider apart, about 2 to 3 feet apart. And I'm going to take my toes out just a little bit and my heels in. Float the arms up overhead. Take a big breath in. Pull the hands down through heart center, and I'm going to hinge from my hips and come straight out. Nice flat back, and then lower the head all the way down. I'm going to bring my hands to the blocks right below my head and just let my head melt down here. And just kind of sway from side to side, letting all of the blood and the oxygen flow down into my head, really energizing first thing in the morning. And I'm going to do a little twist down here too. So I'm going to keep my left hand down. As you inhale, float your right arm up. Press your left hand down and reach your right arm up. And look up towards your right fingertips if that feels okay on your neck. If that doesn't feel good, look down or straight to the side. Keep lifting and opening and spiraling up. Yes. Take one more breath here. And lower down the right hand. From here, right hand stays down. As you inhale, float your left arm up. And look up towards the left fingertips. I always like to do a little jazz hand up there. Keep lifting, opening, spiraling up. Keep breathing here. Another inhale in. And then exhale, lower the hand down. We're going to come up from here. Bring your hands to your low back. Same thing we've been doing all class. Little soft bend in your knees though. Hug your shoulders together. Press into your feet. As you come up, you're going to squeeze your legs together. Yes. And then float your arms all the way up. And float the hands to the heart. Scissor your feet together. That feels so good to do those inversions with the head lower than the heart. Go ahead and come back to Tadasana. I'm feeling really energized. How are you guys feeling? I hope good. Just checking in. And come back to Tadasana. Always like to start the morning with some balance work. So let's just keep it really easy today. And we'll do tree pose, Vrksasana. So feet parallel hip distance apart, standing in Tadasana. You can always go to a wall. And if you're going to go to a wall, bring your left hand to the wall so that we can work with the right foot, okay? So from Tadasana, roll up onto your right toes. And then you can either bring your right heel to either your ankle or your shin or up above your knee, just not right at your knee. I'm going to go to the shin today. And I'm going to guide my right knee out to the side, lift up and lengthen. Yeah. Feel really grounded and solid. I'm going to take my arms out to the sides today because that feels good for me. And it feels really forklifty, like I'm going to lift myself up and lift up everyone I meet. I'm going to walk around today with a big, huge honking smile. Everybody will wonder what I'm up to. And I'll know I'm forklifting. All right, take one more breath here. Bring your hands to your heart. Lower your right leg down. Shake it out. Do a little dance on your yoga mat. Pull your yoga pants up like I am. Whatever you need to do. You have to have fun on your yoga mat, right? Tadasana. You have to have fun in everything that you do, right? All right, fix your gaze straight in front of you. We're gonna roll up onto the left toes. And again, take your left foot, take it to the same place you did the other side. So I went to the shin, so I'm gonna go there. And I'm pressing my left foot really solidly into my right foot without locking my right knee. And then gently guiding my left knee out. I always like to press my hand on top of my thigh and lift up. Yeah, like I'm forklifting myself. And then those arms can go out to the sides. You can float them up. You can sway them. You can keep them at your heart. Whatever you'd like to do, yogis. Let's take a couple of breaths here together in Vrksasana. Opening up into Lotus Mudra. Yes. All right, bring your fingers together, lower your left foot down, and again, just shake it out a little bit. Woot, woot. All right, let's come all the way down to the mat. And let's just do a few more things to finish up this practice this morning. So I'm gonna come to an easy sit pose, and you are welcome to either come with the soles of your feet together or your legs straight out. You want to be able to sit up nice and tall, and if that's hard for you to do, the blocks are really nice to sit up on. In fact, I'll go ahead and sit up on a block so you can see what that looks like. And when I come and sit on the edge of the block and bring my right leg in front of my left, what happens is I'm able to tilt my pelvis forward a little bit more, and I can sit up nice and tall. That feels so good. And it's a nice reminder for me all day to sit up tall at my desk. All right, we're gonna do a forward fold over the legs just to get a nice little hip opener. So float your arms up overhead, take a big breath in, and pull your hands down through heart center, and then just slide your hands forward, walk them forward as far as you can go. You might come here and start to feel this in your hip, and if you do, just stop right here and bow your head. I'm going to come forward a little bit farther until I feel this in my hip, and I'm keeping my spine long and lowering the head down. You can bring your head to a block here if you want. Let's pause here, take a couple of deep breaths in and out. All right, walk the hands back. And And bring your hands back behind you. Bend your knees. And just windshield wiper the legs from left to right a few times. I'm going to come off of the block for a moment. So windshield wiper. Yeah. All right, now I'm going to bring the left knee in front of the right and sit up nice and tall. Float your arms up overhead. Bring your hands down through your heart and then slide your arms forward. And let's come into that forward fold. I like to wiggle around a little bit so any tension in that hip kind of loosens up a little bit. I'm feeling this in my left hip, but not so much that I'm in any pain. And I'm just going to breathe a couple of deep breaths here. So one of the things about being a forklift is it's good to be a forklift for your friends and your family and those you come into contact with. You'll leave them feeling lighter, more full of joy, but it's really good to be a forklift for yourself. Come on up nice and slow. And you know what I'm talking about. We can be our own worst enemies, really beating ourselves up, not believing in ourselves, being judgmental. So when you practice being a forklift, be a forklift for yourself as well. Yeah. All right, take your legs straight out in front of you. Flex your heels, toes are pointing up. And I'm sitting up nice and tall. Hands are right by the hips. Pull your shoulders down. Hug your shoulders together. And if your heels pop up, you're hyperextending your knees. So keep your heels down. Press down into the legs. Hug your shoulders together. Wiggle the crown of your head up. Curl up the corners of your mouth. Let's take a couple breaths here in Dandasana. Nice deep stretch of the legs, strengthening the core. Yeah, I am a forklift. Can't say it enough. I am a forklift. It just makes me smile. All right, go ahead and release that, shake it out. Let's do a seated twist. Bend your right knee, cross it over top of your left. Stay here, or if you can, bend your left knee and bring it back. If you brought that back and you're up like this, take it right back out, okay? All right, bring your right hand right behind your hip. Lift up and lengthen, and then as you exhale, turn and twist and hook your left elbow over the thigh or bring your hand to your knee and just gently pull that knee in. You're lengthening on the inhale, your exhale, turning and twisting. And just keep the breath flowing here. So good to twist the spine, moving the spine in all of its directions this morning. As you inhale, come back to neutral. Go ahead and uncross the legs, take them back out. Take your right leg and cross it over top of your left, and then bend your left knee if you can. If you can't, keep it right out where it was. From here, we're gonna bring, I think I just screwed up. Take your legs out in front of you. This time, we're gonna cross the left leg over top of the right, and then bend your right knee and bring your right knee back. There we go. See, I knew I would screw up at least once, and that's what makes it perfect for me. Take your left hand and float it right back behind your hip. Float your right arm up and lift up and lengthen, and then turn and twist. Either elbow hooked around or just grab onto your knee. Lift up and lengthen and turn and twist. Keep lengthening, keep smiling, keep breathing. All right, on the next inhale, come back to neutral and uncross your legs and windshield wiper them if you need to a few more times. Let's come onto the back. We've only got 2 more things to do. You can do it. Come onto your back, and we haven't done any, well, we have done some back bends, but let's just do one more, and let's do bridge pose. So come down onto your back, and your knees are bent, and just walk your heels up as close as you can towards your sit bones. Hands are at the sides, feet are pressing down, hands. Press your low back into the mat. You'll feel your pelvis tilt up, and then lift your hips and your pelvis up. And just come up as far as you can. Keep pressing your knees forward and your chest towards your chin. Take a couple of deep breaths here. You're inhaling and lifting, maybe exhaling and lowering a bit. One more time, lift up as high as you can. And then exhale, lower down. Pause here for a moment, take a couple of deep breaths. You can always, if you'd like, I'll do this for the next one just to show you what it looks like, but you can always take a block, lift the hips up, take the block underneath your hips, and take a restorative back bend. How's this look? Pretty yummy, huh? I could stay here all day, feels so good. You can even bring the block up a little bit higher if you'd like. So take your next bridge pose, breathing in and out. In and out. I am a forklift. I'm going to be kinder to myself today. No negative self-talk. Believing in everything that I do. Believing and listening and honoring those that I'm with. And the words, I am a forklift, came from Yogi Bhajan. And the inspiration for that also came from a really great book I'm reading called The Yamas and the Niyamas by Deborah Adele. Take a few more breaths here. All right, go ahead. If you took the block, lift your hips up, take the block out from underneath you, and bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a big, huge, honking, humongous hug for showing up on your yoga mat this morning to practice. Yeah. And then go ahead and take your left foot out to the left side of the mat, your right foot out to the left side of the mat, and your arms to the sides. If you're cold, and I'm actually really cold right now, so I'm gonna rock up. It's always good to come up to seated before you go into Shavasana. I'm gonna do two things. I'm gonna roll this blanket up so I can put this blanket underneath my knees, and I'm gonna put my jacket on. So do what you need to do. Put on a jacket, put on your socks, whatever you need to so that you're warm and comfortable. Because Shavasana is all about letting go. And even though it's the morning and you probably feel like you need to rush off, take a few moments here. We'll take a shorter Shavasana, but I want you to join me for a minute or two in Shavasana, okay? So come back down and take your feet out to the corners of the mat, and let's just pause here and relax. Arms to the sides, palms up. Let your feet flap open wide. Take a sweet inhale in, and exhale, sigh it out. Shavasana. Start to notice your breath, yogis. Gently rock your head from side to side a few times. Hug your knees into your chest again. Give yourself a big, huge honking squeeze. And go ahead and gently turn to the right side. Pause for a moment. Take a big breath in. Sigh it out. And then press your left hand into the mat. Use your legs and your glutes and your core, not all your head and your neck, and lift yourself up to an easy sit pose. Yeah, just take your time getting up. When you get there, float your arms all the way up overhead. Bring your palms together and let your hands come right to your heart space. Press your pinky and your thumb together again. Close your eyes. And as you open up the 3 middle fingers, yeah, you'll feel something. That's your heart opening up to all the goodness that this day has to bring, all the abundance this day has to bring. Believe that to be so and thank the universe in advance for all of your blessings. And then bring all 5 fingers together. Let's close this practice this morning, joining together with the sound of an Om. Exhale out to prepare. Take an in-breath in. Thank you so much for practicing with me this morning, yogis. My wish for you as you step out off of your mat this morning and into your world is that your hearts would be full of love, that you would open to your divine guidance and truth, that you would all be healed, and that your lives would be a source of healing, light, and love, aka that you would be a forklift out in our world. Namaste. So go out there today, have a great day, be a forklift, be a joy spreader, spread joy, kindness, love to everyone you meet, and offer that same joy,